All right, so as Amanda said, we're going to go through this. All kinds of good information, nothing too jarring. So we're going to go through healthcare reform updates, look at your benefit options, talk a little bit more about the health reimbursement accounts or HRAs. You guys have had it for a couple of years, but they're a little mystical, so we'll go through that again. And then look at the online enrollment system, which is a little different, but the same. That doesn't make much sense, but if you haven't heard from your coworkers, you'll see what I mean when we go into it. The plans that are offered here at Operation Smile are deemed credible by Medicare. And the reason that we tell you that every year is because if you became eligible for Medicare because of a disability, turning 65, which nobody in here is even close to, then you would want to know if these plans are credible or not, which means that the prescription drug benefit that's part of the benefit is as good as or better than the prescription drug benefit offered by Medicare. If they weren't credible, you would want to move to your Medicare plan right away. Otherwise, you'd have a penalty to pay. But since they are credible, even if you become Medicare eligible, you can have the choice of staying on these plans or moving to Medicare. And the key message really that I give to everyone about this is if you become Medicare eligible, call us. There are just a zillion rules about when you can do what and when's going to be best for you to do it. So just call us. We have 3 Medicare experts in our office, and they'll be happy to walk you through that. And you might want to do it a couple months beforehand, because you have a window when you become Medicare eligible, 3 months before and 3 months after that eligibility. The children's health insurance programs have been around a number of years, actually many, many years. Excuse me. In Virginia, it's called FAMES. And it's designed for people who have coverage at work but can't afford to cover their children at work. So this would give you the possibility of covering your children at a much reduced rate. And it's all based on the number of people in your family and your income. So we'll be happy to help you with that, or you can call the number here or go online as well. So this is your open enrollment time. Operation Smile has an incredible benefits package. They cover the employee's cost for the lowest cost plan on the medical as well as the dental. And then they also give you $50,000 worth of life insurance, and the ability to buy more than that if you choose, as well as give you or cover the cost for short-term and long-term disability. We'll go through those benefits. But this is open enrollment time, so you want to make sure that you make your decisions wisely or carefully, because these benefits that you choose now that will start in July will be in effect for the next year. So now's the time that you can make any change you need to. And outside of open enrollment, you have to have a qualifying event in order to make a change. So get married, have a baby, get divorced. Any of those things happen, then you have 30 days within that time frame, after that event, I should say, to make a change to your benefits. But this is the time of year for you to make those across the board changes. All right, so we are still with Optima, still with the same plans that we've had, which is really incredible at this day and time. Most of our employer groups are having to make pretty drastic changes in their benefits to combat the costs increase in plans, but not the case here. So you have 3 options to choose from. The richest plan is this Vantage HMO 2580, and you're in your brochure as well. This plan is, when I say the richest, you have a copay for your PCP, specialist, urgent care, prescription drugs, even a global OP fee of $500. So if you're expecting that you have that $500 fee that covers everything while you're pregnant. Outside of that, then you have 20% to pay, but there's no deductible. So let's say you went into the hospital for an outpatient procedure that was $10,000, you would pay 20% of that, or $2,000, but no deductible first. And then, of course, all your plans have flat copays for your prescription drugs, depending on the tier that those medications are on. And they all also have, very important, an out-of-pocket maximum. That's your stop-loss protection. That says, in any given year, you as an individual person is not going to pay more than $4,000 on these first 2 plans and $4,500 on the last one. Okay? Now, these second plans, this is the Plus PPO, and it has the copay structure as we just talked about, except that it does have a deductible and it doesn't have a global OP fee. And the other difference with this plan is that it has out-of-network benefits. So you can see down here, if you decide you want to go to the Cleveland Clinic or somewhere else, you can do that under the PPO plan and still have coverage. The last plan is the HRA that we introduced a couple of years ago, and it's a high deductible health plan. What that means is it meets certain criteria. So in this case, it's a $2,500 deductible, which sounds horrible. But it's not as bad as you think. And you have preventive care and prescription drug benefits before that deductible. So you do have those two things. And then you have the deductible to pay only then 20%. But Operation Smile is putting some money towards helping you meet that deductible. And we'll go into that in just a second. So you can see here that if you decided to sign up for the HRA, you're going to pay nothing for coverage for yourself. It is the least cost plan. Then we have the HMO, and the PPO is the highest cost. And that's how the plans were structured when they come the price for the carrier. All right, so what's a high deductible health plan? Again, we talked about the fact that it was prescribed amount, but the fact that Operation Smile is giving you some money to help pay for the costs in that deductible. So if you're signing up for an individual employee only, they'll pay up to $1,500, and it's a family coverage, which is basically anything other than employee only. They'll give you up to $2,000. Now, it's not like they're just putting this money in an account for you, but basically, if you have claims, then they will help pay for them. So they'll pay 20%, and they'll pay 80%, up to those maximums of $1,500 or $2,000. This is a little confusing, but it does help explain it. You've got kind of three areas. You've got the first amount to get to the deductible, and then you have the amount after the deductible. So you're going to pay the first $1,500, and you're going to pay the first $375, split that 80-20. So if you have a bill for $100, you're going to pay $20, you're going to pay $80. Once they've paid out the $1,500, then you're responsible for the next $625, and then that's going to get you to your deductible of $2,500. At that point, you're still going to pay the 20%, and the health plan is going to pay 80% until you get to that out-of-pocket maximum of $4,500. Any questions on that? Okay. So as we talked about, you do have preventive coverage and your prescription drugs before the deductible on the HRA, and I think probably all of you know, because it's been around for a couple of years, the preventive care list is huge. I used to think it was about 5 items, or it used to be actually about 5 items. Now it's about 3 pages, and the list of preventive care services are on the website to take a look at. And one thing I always like to point out with that as well is that when you go in for some sort of screening or preventive care, if it's nothing urgent, try not to talk to your provider about anything else, because then they can bill it as an office visit, and you'll have more to pay, or anything to pay. All right, so this is just another way to look at the fact that Operation Smile is going to be helping you with that deductible portion, and then the health plan comes in at that point. All right, so just kind of a look at it. We did talk about, if you have the office visit, you're going to pay $20. If you have a lab test that's $200, then that 20% for you is $40. But your pharmacy is under the prescription drug copay, so you're going to pay your copay no matter what. And then your stop loss is the $4,500, or $9,000 per family. And one thing that's important is, as well as the deductible on either of the plans, the PPO or the HRA, is they're called embedded deductibles, and that's a good thing. And that means basically that once an individual person in the family would reach this $4,500, then they're going to be covered at 100%. And then any other combination of family members could combine to meet the $9,000, and then everybody would be covered 100%. All right, so it works this way. Basically, you go to see a provider. They're going to submit the claim to Optima just as normal. Once Optima processes and determines the allowable charges, it's going to send that claim to Choice Strategies, and they're going to then send the bill to Operation Smile so they can pay their 80%, and then you'll get your bill to pay the 20%. All right, so here's the comparisons just to kind of give you an idea of how things work. Again, just a better picture. So under the HRA plan, your premium per year is, for a family, is $8,500. Under the HMO, you can take about $10,000. And then your out-of-pocket cost on the HRA plan would be about $650. That's your portion of the deductible. Whereas your out-of-pocket costs for the visits described at the top are going to come to $750. So here on the HMO, your costs are actually higher than on the HRA plan. So it's a different way of working things. It's a kind of learning curve, but the dollars and cents make sense under the HRA plan in most cases. All right, any questions on the HRA or any of the medical plans before we move on? Okay. So flexible spending account, how many of you have a flexible spending account with Smile? Good, very good. It's a great way to save money. It's basically an interest-free, tax-free loan. So for dependent care, you can set aside up to $5,000, and that's typically a better tax deduction than just taking on your tax return. And for health care, you can set aside up to $2,550 per year. So what that means is you go through open enrollment, you say I want to set aside $1,000. Let's make it easy. Let's say $1,200. So you set aside the $1,200, so it's going to come out $50 a pay period. Or are you 26 or 24? I forgot. 24. Okay, so $50 a pay period. And then that money, the full, in this case, $1,200 you set aside, is available to you for use for any medical expenses. And here the term medical is a little misleading because it's for medical, it's for dental, it's for vision, hearing aids, in some cases acupuncture. It's a very wide array of services, and there's also a list on the website of eligible expenses for this. So if you, for instance, on July 1st, know you have to get a new pair of glasses, and the glasses would be $400, you would have that money available right to you right then. You'd have a card to swipe, and they would be paid for, and then throughout the year, you're just paying your loan by having a tax deducted from your paycheck, and you're saving whatever your tax rate is, 25–30%. So it's a great way to set aside money. You kind of need to sit down and say, what am I going to use this year? How much money am I going to get out of my pocket? And then set it aside. And one of the great things is they now have in place the $500 carryover. Before, and aside from the $500 now, it's use it or lose it. So if you don't use the money, you're going to lose it each year. But if you've never done it before, just put $500 away. Then that way, you've got 2 years to spend $500, which I don't know about you, but I've been spending about 2 months. So, all right, so that's a great way to save some money, and it shows you here where it's going to help you in other ways too. So you've got 2 people that have make about $800 a month per pay period, I should say. This person in the middle here doesn't do anything with pre-tax, doesn't set aside those monies. So you can see they're getting taxed on the full paycheck, and so they're taking home about $408. Here, they're setting aside those funds, so they're not paying taxes on them. And you come down to the bottom, and they're taking home more money than paycheck, and they have those funds available to use whenever they need them. So a really smart way to save some money. Okay, so pharmacy is the most utilized thing, any plan. Not you guys, just any plan out there. And so we like to try and keep in front of you some great ways for you to save money every time you get prescription drugs, as well as help save money for the plan over the long term. So if you use Target or Walmart, and there's some other pharmacies that do this as well, they have a list of $4 or $5 pharmacy. So if you're taking a medication that's on one of their lists, then when you go in to get that drug, don't show your card. You don't need your card. Those costs are available to anybody and everybody, whether they have insurance or not. And then that way, Operation Smile is not charged for the full amount of the drug. So if you're on the drug's on that list, just don't use your card. Another great app is goodrx.com. You put it on your phone, computer obviously, but when you put in a medication you need to take, it will show you from where you are, if you want to use your location services, where's the best way to get that medication. So again, it doesn't really mean much to you probably because you've got a flat copay for each medication, but it affects you overall in trying to keep the increases down for the years to come. And for folks that, again, you guys are all so young, but you have people that are on Medicare and they don't have those copays, they have to pay for the cost of their drug. It's a great app for them. Well, I don't know about you, but I haven't got my mom a smartphone yet because she has hard enough time with the little flip phone. But I can look those drugs up for her and tell her where the best place to go is. So a couple of people have asked for many years in a row, actually, about having chiropractic coverage. And really, the cost of that coverage outweighs the benefit. And so we look at it every year, as well as a more obesity rider and a couple other things to see if their costs have come down and whether or not we can put that on and not penalize you guys so much that can raise the premiums. Just is not in the cards right now. So hopefully one day that'll come down and we'll be able to do it, but right now, just not working. All right, MD Live. Has anybody used this yet? It's been around for a while, but really we haven't touted it, and the health plans haven't touted it that well. But MD Live is basically a teledoc. You can go on your smartphone, your computer, and see a doctor. It's amazing. My son was in Ohio, and he didn't know any doctors there. Registered him for it, and he basically comes up. You have like 4 or 5 doctors. They're here because they're in this market. You get to choose which doctor you want based on their specialty, what they've been working on, what they look like, whatever you choose. And then you'll get a face-to-face visit with that doctor within 15 minutes. It's a regular copay, your PCP copay, so whatever plan you're on, it'll be that copay, or a flat $39 if you're on the HRA plan. Or if you just know someone who doesn't have insurance, it's a $39 cost. And so these are the kind of things that they can help you with. Obviously, you're not going to go to see that person for something complicated, but these things, it works really well for. And
Stacey, we had one question from our last group wanting to know if one of your children needed to be seen, can they use the MD Live even if they're not on their plan?
Yes. So this is out there for anybody and everybody. The good news for you as a enrollee in the health plan is that it's integrated with your health plan so that the doctor that sees you online basically corresponds with your PCP, keeps them up to date, and it goes towards your cost of your out-of-pocket maximum. But for someone who's not covered by the plan, they can just see the doctor, pay $39, and they're good to go. It works really well. So there's a list of providers that participate at mdlive.com. I encourage all of you to go ahead and register now, just in case you need it. I don't know about you, but when I'm sick, the last thing I want to do is have to deal with something like that. Yes, ma'am?
Will they prescribe you?
They will prescribe you, yes. Yeah, they have all the same information, have all your history in the system that your regular doctors used to see. So if you're trying to get some medication twice, you just had, that's not going to work, but they can prescribe you. Okay. So there's also a treatment cost calculator. This is especially useful, again, for finding out reviews of physicians and things of the quality controls kind of piece, but very helpful when you sign up with the HRA. Because you'll be able to go into Optimus system and access the tool and say, I'm going to have knee surgery, for instance. And so it will show you all the doctors in their network, how many they've done, some reviews from their patients, and what their average cost is. It's not exact, but at least you get an average idea. So when it's coming out of your pocket, you can kind of help keep that cost lower. All right, any questions on any of those pieces? Okay. So we're still with Delta Dental, which is awesome. I mean, this is the best dental out there. We deal with all kinds of dental plans, and they're all relatively good, but Delta, there's just virtually no issues. And if there are issues, they get resolved. So, and they have a very large network of dentists. So staying with Delta Dental, you still have your preventive care covered at 100%. You have a deductible then of $50 per person or a maximum of $150 per family. And then your basic services like extractions or fillings are covered at 90%. You'll pay that 10%. And then your major services, root canals, crowns, those kind of things are going to be covered at 60%. So you'll pay 40%. And your annual max, which these two things are huge, your annual max is the highest max we have for any of our clients. We have about 3,000 clients. You have $5,000 worth of dental each year. Now, God help you if you have to have that much dental work, but it's nice to know you have that benefit if you need it. And then you have orthodontia, which is covered at 50%, again, to a very high max of about $2,500. Usually these are down around $1,200, so it's a very, very good benefit you guys have here. See the cost, again, great that Operation Smile pays for your employee-only coverage, and then relatively inexpensive to add the rest of your family members. Vision care, I always like to point out that the optimal plans that you sign up for contain vision coverage. And the vision network that's in the optimal plan is the exact same network as is in this VSD plan. But the vision benefit in the optimal plan is only for once every 2 years. So if you need to have your eyes checked and get new glasses or lenses every year, you want to pick this up to cover that in the off year. This is every year. So that's why it's really valuable. Because, well, I know most people, my eyes change like crazy. So really good benefit to have to back up. All right, so the additional employer paid benefits, these are key. So you have group life insurance, so you get $50,000 worth of life insurance, and you also have short-term and long-term disability. Now your short-term disability is about 2/3 of your income, and that's really, sounds maybe bad, but it's not because it's not taxed. So you're really getting pretty much all of your income. You have a 7-day elimination if you are, as an illness. It starts on the first day of this 0 day, first day for accidents, and it lasts for 13 weeks. So you have a 3-3-12 pre-act. So if you came to work here, joined the plan, but you had something that started 3 months before you started here, before you were covered, that's not going to be covered for the first 12 months. Otherwise, everyone's covered. The long-term disability picks up after the short-term ends. So after the 13 weeks is up, you're still deemed disabled, then you move into long-term disability. The short-term pays you weekly. The long-term, when you move over to that, pays you monthly. And in this case, you're going to get 50% of your monthly earnings to a max of $5,000 a month. And that 9-day elimination is, of course, that 13 weeks that the short-term is covered. So in addition to the basic life insurance and operations small provider, you have the ability to purchase voluntary life insurance. And I always tell people to please at least buy the minimum of this voluntary life insurance, because when you come in for the first time, then there's no pre-ex. There's no elimination. You can buy increments of $10,000 up to $130,000 without any medical questions. If you wait until later, you don't buy it when you're first eligible, then you're going to have to fill out what's called an evidence of insurability, and they will underwrite and make sure that they can issue the policy. So get your foot in the door, buy $10,000 or $20,000, and then you can add $10,000 each year as you can afford more coverage. If you buy insurance on yourself, then you'll be able to also buy insurance on your spouse, and that's $5,000 increments to a max of 50% of your policy, and that's a max for a guaranteed issue of $50,000, which is also a good thing to have. So make sure you look at that. And then your children, you can get anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, and it's one policy that covers all your children. So we talked about this. You have to buy coverage on yourself in order to have coverage on your spouse. And if you don't purchase it, or you didn't purchase it when you're first eligible, you'll have to fill out evidence of insurability. All right, who has pets here? Nobody has pets. You just don't want to say it, I know. This is just a little add-on we added last year. We actually had people at Town Bank, where our parent company, are the ones that asked for this, and so we just added this last year to most of our groups. It's just a nice little add-on. You just click on the benefit, or the link on the website, go in, put in your breed of your pet, and then choose the deductible you want, and the coverage you want. And for my little 8-pound Yorkie, it's about $30 a month for the maximum. So I had to buy it just to check it out, so I know what I'm talking about. But it does cover some good things. I know people who spent $11,000 on a pet, and this would cover those things. It doesn't cover your everyday thing, just like any other insurance is not going to cover. Car insurance doesn't cover 2 nights. But if something really bad happens, then you've got some coverage. All right, any questions on those items? Because I'm going to have the folks from Legal Resources come and talk about your legal and identity. Okay, thank you. Here you go, Sarah.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Kyle Morton, and I'm from Legal Resources. I've been coming here for the last, I want to say, 3 years since we rolled out the plan, maybe 2 or 3 years. So happy to be back with you guys this morning. I'm going to talk to you about the legal plan that, like I said, we've offered for the last 2 to 3 years. But we also have a new component, the Identity Theft Protection Plan, that Alex Petron is going to speak about after me. So we're excited to roll it out to you guys this year. But as far as the legal plan goes, Legal Resources is a benefit designed to protect you from the high cost of legal fees. So a lot of times when people hear legal, they think you gotta get in trouble, you gotta get arrested to use it. That's not the case at all. Well, we can help in those situations, but it's for the things that we go through throughout our lives. It could be an everyday die, you're the executor of the estate, what do you do? Or if something happens to your child. So these type of legal events happen all the time to people, and that's where we step in. We step in to give you direct access to your own law firm that you can contact directly whenever you have a legal need. And we also step in to save you money because you pay no attorney's fees for the most commonly used legal services that you have in your lifetime. Now, this is a great slide because it really shows you how these legal life events happen throughout your lives. And maybe some things that you're thinking, oh gosh, you know, I should have used an attorney for that, or I didn't even think about using an attorney for that. Whether you're in your 20s and you're just getting your apartment, buying a car, you need someone to look over your agreement before you sign these documents for leasing, traffic violations, or whether you're in your 40s, you have teenage drivers, that's scary for everyone. Refinancing your home, power of attorney for your parents. You kind of see how these things typically, you know, everyone's jumbled around as far as what their legal needs are, but you can see how these things happen throughout your life. That's what we're here to be a resource for to you all. Now, as far as legal resources goes, the cost savings is strong. Those of you who've used an attorney recently know that. And those of you who haven't know that using an attorney is very expensive. The average cost is between $200 to $400 per hour. With our plan, the cost of the legal resource plan is $9 per pay period. If you take that over the course of the year, it's $260 for the entire year. And that protects you, your spouse, and your dependent children up to age 19 or to age 23 if you're a full-time student. So, and that's unlimited use throughout the year for these legal services and more. Really quickly, I wanted to reference you to your brochure that's in front of you. There's a grid to your left that shows, talks a little bit more about the cost savings piece. So you can see how much you would typically pay for legal services without an attorney, and then you have that zero there because as legal resources member, we pay no attorney's fees for our fully covered services. Then on the next page, you'll see these things listed in front of you and more. These are all of our fully covered services bulleted out to your right. So you can see how the plan can apply to your life, to your family's lives. I mentioned general advice in consultation. If something happens to you or your family, you just want to know what your legal rights are, what you should do. That's fully covered service, as well as reviewing of legal documents. A complete will package for you and your family that includes a living will as well. Family law, divorce, adoption, name change, traffic violations, including first offense DUIs, real estate. That even includes if you're renting and have an issue with your landlord. A lot of times all it takes is a letter from your attorney or a phone call from your attorney to make something happen for you. So I'm not going to read through all of these for the sake of time, but you can see as many things listed out there. Remember, it covers you and your entire family. The expanded coverage benefit, I wanted to mention that because all of these fully covered services that you see bulleted here in your brochure, those are the most commonly used legal services you have in your lifetime. But if you have a legal matter that's not one of our fully covered services, you're still covered under our plan. And for those matters, they're typically more specialized, bankruptcies, maybe immigration law, business matters, things like that. More specialized, you're still covered at a 25% discount off of those attorney's fees. Very significant, considering legal fees are hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. We're staying true to our mission to protect you from the high cost of legal fees. Then, as far as how you enroll in line with the other benefits. Okay? So I went through that really quickly. I will be available afterwards if you have any questions. But I'm going to turn it over to Alex Petroff, who's going to talk to you about our new identity theft protection piece, which is very popular right now. All right?
Good morning again. I'm Alex Petrov. I'm the product manager for Identity Theft for Legal Resources. And I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of having an identity theft plan, which is a new benefit to your group this year. And I'm going to briefly explain to you why would you need such a plan and all the benefits about. Now, there is a brochure included in your packets that's just one flyer, just like this. And on the back of it, you can see the plans offered, and we're going to talk to you about pricing and benefits. So why would you need a plan like this? Well, as you can see on the PowerPoint slide, every 2 seconds today, someone new becomes a victim of identity theft. That's how fast, or worse, I should say, it has become over the last several years. In fact, the Federal Trade Commission has stated that for the last 15 years in a row, identity theft cases have been actually the fastest growing in the crime industry. So basically, we're talking about the fastest growing crime ever. And actually, it shows no signs of slowing down at all. So, over the last several years, we combined efforts with a company called Identity Force. You can see the logo on the brochures in the top left corner. The company is based off of Massachusetts, and they have been doing actually data breach management for over 35 years. They are A+ rated from the Better Business Bureau, and they have and are working with the U.S. government as we speak. They have active contracts, something called blanket purchase agreements, which is something that allows them to work with the U.S. government for data breach management. And last year, they were one of the only 2 companies in the world awarded Tier 1 contract level, which means they can deal with breaches that are with 21 million people and over that are affected. So the company is actually no stranger to this business, but to you, you may not have heard that name before because they did not have a consumer-facing product for many years. So we partnered with them to offer you the best of the best. This company is actually, if you look and Google it, you can see that it's always in the top 3, usually in the top 1 or 2 spots. So what do you get with these plans? Let's go over some of the benefits. The benefits, there's a nice little comparison chart on the back of the brochure. The PowerPoint doesn't have slides on that, but basically if you look on the back of the brochure provided, which is also included in an email that HR, I believe, sent or will send shortly, it will explain all the details on the benefits. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the 4 main benefits you get with this product. You get real-time monitoring of all of your personal information. That means we monitor all the dark websites, the blogs, the illegal chat rooms, all of those places where the stolen information gets posted to sale or trade. So if any one of your pieces of information is posted there, you're going to be alerted. And when I mean personal information and financial, I mean your bank accounts, your credit cards, your medical insurance ID number, your social security number. So when any of those pieces of information is posted somewhere, you're going to be alerted. And that is where you come in and feel the benefit of this plan, because your bank or no institution can do that for you. For example, your bank can alert you if somebody in Prague or London is trying to use your credit card. But what if somebody goes to the same Target you went to yesterday? What if a thief bought your stolen credit card information and went to shop with it? Do you think your bank will alert you for that? Well, they can't, because they go to the same places you go. Because the thieves are smart today, they actually would sell the information, they're going to put your zip code there, and the thieves that are going to buy that, they're going to go shop the same places you are, so the bank will never get suspicious. So our service hopefully will catch that before it even begins. When it's posted, that's when we're going to get the alerts. The next benefit I want to mention is credit reports and credit scores. And that's where the difference between the 2 plans comes into play. The Gold plan offers you a single credit bureau monitoring and an annual report and score from TransUnion. While the Platinum plan offers you credit reports and scores from all 3 agencies, including Experian and Equifax. And you get quarterly updated credit reports and credit scores for each. And these are called soft pulls, and they do not affect your credit. Okay, so besides the ongoing credit monitoring, you also get for something that is a question of when is going to happen, not if, and that is the death of your identity. We also have reactive help, which means if something happens to you, you're going to pay for everything and you're going to go to work to fix it. So the payment of everything is including the $1 million of insurance, which you get and you get full managed restoration, which means we are going to make all the phone calls and we're going to do all the paperwork to fix your identity. In case you're wondering, this is actually one of the greatest pieces of the payment because restoration takes 330 hours on average. That's how much time you're going to lose if you have to deal with these issues yourself. It's very painful because in the beginning of such a process, you are considered just as guilty as any perpetrator because you have to prove that it was someone else that did whatever that was. That's why it's so painful and long to do. In some cases, you may have to go to court. So I just want to point out that credit card fraud is only part of identity theft. There's much more to it because if somebody gets a mortgage under your name, it's not as easy as you making a phone call and getting it resolved. You actually have to go to court for this. So who's going to pay for your lost time from work? Who's going to pay for your lawyer? So that's where insurance comes into play. We pay for lost wages, attorney representation, transportation, even childcare. So basically any costs associated with the restoration of your identity are covered. So that's what the plans do. The actual list of coverage includes many, many different features, but I want to point out the 4 main ones. So the prices, you can see it on the slide. The gold one will be $598 per employee per paycheck, and the platinum plan will be $948 per paycheck. Again, the difference is primarily, among other things, gold one is 1 credit bureau monitoring, and the platinum is triple credit bureau monitoring, reports and scores of data forward. So, how does the plan work, actually? Once you sign up, you're going to get a welcome email on your effective date of coverage. Once you get that email, there's going to be a link in there. You follow that link and you gain access to this. It's called the dashboard. This dashboard actually shows you the majority of the information you're going to be concerned with, such as credit reports and scores, which are right there in the middle of the back, actually on the bottom of the screen. This is a screenshot of the platinum product, so you see 3 credit bureaus and 3 credit scores. If you click on that area, you're going to see an actual comparison chart, which will show you the detailed credit reports from each bureau. You see the email alerts from the top. On the bottom left, you see health score, which is a number between 0 and 1,000, showing you how the plans work and what your exposure is. The higher the number, the worse is, meaning you have too much exposure. So when it's between 0 and 299, it's low risk. And the following screens, as you can see in the red banner, there's other screens you can click on and show. That's where you actually enter your information to be monitored. For example, the second screen will show you that says My Services. That's where you enter your credit card number, your social security number, and anything else that you want to be monitored. So it's very important that you follow with that email, follow the instructions, and get the service started. Okay. So there's no paperwork that is being sent for this benefit. That's why I'm putting some attention to this welcome email, because that is the only way you would start and activate the monitoring services. Now, your insurance and restorations, they're actually from day one, even if you don't do this. But if you miss on this part, you're going to get no alerts in advance because you never put in your social or your medical ID number or your credit card numbers to be monitored. Okay, so sign up is online, just like you do with your other benefits. And if you have any questions, I'll be here after the meeting also. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Alex. All right, any questions on any of the benefits we've talked about so far? Because we're going to move into how you enroll with all these benefits. Okay, and we'll all be here, as Alex said, in case you have personal questions you want to ask later. So this year is a little different because you now have Paylocity for your payroll. So we've integrated that with the bSwift online enrollment. So you're going to go to your webpage, login. The company ID, in case you don't have it saved there, is the 15838. This presentation is on the website, so if you forget it, you can go back to the screen and find it. Then you're going to put your username and password in, and that's going to bring you to this screen. And basically, if you want to review the benefits, if you're just not quite sure about everything we talked about this morning, then you're going to click on that benefits portal link, and that's going to take you to the website where you can review everything. But if you're ready to go and you know what you want to sign up for, you'll just click on the Enterprise Web Benefits. Once you've done that, this is if you want to look at the benefits. We'll take you to the Town Benefits website with the username Smile and the password Wide. And here's where all the benefits are. So it's a little different. We just did a refresh, thank goodness, because that old website was about 10 years old. So it looks a little fresher now. But you'll see there's a benefit, a menu item for each of the benefits on the left-hand side. And if you click on the link to go to the enrollment, you're going to come to this screen. And that's where you're going to be going into bSwift. And you'll just click on Change My Elections, because it's a single sign-on from Paylocity's web portal entry to this. And Change My Elections, you'll have a couple different things to do. First, you'll verify demographic information. And then, once you've done that, you'll say continue. You'll verify your family information, demographic information. So this doesn't cover the people in your family, just puts them in the system so you can cover them if you want to. And again, you agree and continue, and then click Get Started. And you'll see, before you get to this page, it's kind of cut off here, but you'll have all the different benefits scrolling down. And it'll hit Get Started, it opens up the medical first. So for every benefit, you're going to have at the top here, the header, it doesn't want to show on the screen. All the people in your family that you listed are at the top, so you can click on each of them if you want to cover them. The different medical options are there for you. You pick what plan you want, and you'll see the pricing on the side. And when you save, it's going to open the next benefit. And I'll just go down the line. In this case, if you chose an HMO, you want to enter a PCP. If you already have a PCP, you don't need to do anything. You'll keep your same PCP. As I said, it opens up the Delta Dental. You choose that if you want it, and then people in your family that you want to cover, say continue, and it's just going to take you down the line. This is the vision. Put you to the voluntary employee life. It's going to show you what you have now. If you chose the coverage when you were hired or last year during open enrollment, and this is where you can increase it by $10,000 if you want each year. Same thing with the spouse life and the child life. And then you'll be wanting to put in your beneficiaries. Make sure you look at this. Nothing worse than trying to deliver a life insurance check to the ex-wife. So check it every year. That's why I make you go through this. Really not good. One thing I always like to tell people too is to make sure you don't designate a person under the age of 18 as a sole beneficiary, because they will not be able to get that money until they are 18. So you want to make sure that it's either the state, you have an executor of that estate, or you have at least one other adult person that you would have designated. All right, so here's the FSA. You see at the very top in the green, that was the FSA Health. That person has waived it. Every time something is done, either you enroll or waive, it'll turn green. And this is the dependent care. And then we do have a piece in here where you are verifying that you see the compliance documents. Those are on the website under the compliance section. And you'll see when you get to the end, the goal is to have everything turn green. That means you've done what you need to do. You'll hit continue. And if you've chosen the legal services, you'll get an area to pick the attorney you want to use for that plan. You know how to review. So this will show you what plan you signed up for, who in your family you're covering, and what's going to come out of your paycheck on a per pay period cost. You'll agree. And then you have a confirmation statement that you can print for your reference. Now, the site is going to be open until Friday, 13th. No, that was Friday the 13th this week. Okay. So you can go in and out of the system as many times as you need to between now and then. Whatever's in the system on the 13th is what you'll be enrolled in, so make sure you check that. And then if you print your confirmation statement or email it to HR by the 12th, then it'll be entered into a drawing for a prize. What is that prize again?
It's a surprise.
Okay, a surprise prize. Okay. All right, that's really it. My name and number, Robin and Bobby are on my team, and there also our names and numbers on the website. So if you have any questions outside of open enrollment, anytime during the year, just give us a call and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you, guys.